Howdy, y'all. Welcome to Philbilly Games. I am Phil, and I am so excited that you're here joining us for our video for this new SecretLair drop. Before we get going, just a couple quick reminders. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do that, as well as hit that like button. And if you'd like to comment below, that would be awesome. I monitor those comments, and I'll make sure I reply, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. All right? So, a couple other notes before we get rolling. I do have a Discord. If you're not part of my Discord and you like discounted product, sealed product, please join my Discord. You'll find that link in the video description as well as the channel description. And in that Discord, you'll see an announcement section. And in there, I try to keep it up to date every couple of days with products that I have coming soon, as well as products I have currently that I offer at a pretty good price. So reach out to me, just shoot me a DM on Discord if you see something out there that you want to purchase, and I'll get you hooked up. All right. Last thing I'm going to mention is, well, actually two things, I guess. My pro site, my TCG Player Pro site link is there as well. You can find that in the description. And my pro site has all of my singles that I have available at or very close to market price. And so if you want to purchase singles from a trusted seller, someone you know, someone you see making content, I would love to hook you up with that too, with a pretty good price on singles. I have a lot of Magic the Gathering, but I do have some other trading card games on there as well, but check that out. And the last thing I'll mention is I do purchase collections, only Magic the Gathering currently, but if you have a collection that you're looking to offload, I can give a pretty good percentage, and I'd love to check that out and see if we can make ourselves a deal. All right? Now, let's get rolling. So, we're going to talk about a new SecretLair drop today, and if you don't know what a SecretLair is, Magic the Gathering has a direct-to-consumer website called SecretLair, and SecretLair is really, typically, it's special art versions or special borders. It's artists that come in and do a selection of cards. Sometimes, like in the case today, it's a whole commander deck. But really, it's kind of a timed or limited release type of product. And there is a lot of love and a lot of hate for SecretLairs. They can be, if it's a really popular product, like I think the one today that we're going to talk about is going to be, it can be really difficult to get them. Their system is not always great. You will queue and queue and queue, and sometimes you'll get all the way to the end after waiting hours even, and the product's sold out. So it can be really frustrating, but it can also be, it kind of depends, I guess. I've seen product that's more print to order, but lately it's been more exclusive, and it feels like with some of their products, they're printing quite a bit, so it's easier to get through and get that, but you just never know. It's definitely a FOMO moment if you jump in line and they run out. I really feel the product we're going to talk about today, the Goblin Storm Commander deck, is going to be one of those. So if you are looking to get this product, make sure when I talk about the date that you are in the queue. We'll talk about that and what that looks like once we get to that point. All right. But SecretLairs, I love them. There's definitely some I love more than others. Sometimes the value is more than others. I think this product today is a really great product, but I want to kind of take you through it just a little bit. We're not going to spend a ton of time, but I want you to be at least aware of it. All right. So they've done, Magic, Wizards of the Coast, has done a few different SecretLair commander decks. This is one of a few. Most of them have been pretty popular and pretty powerful. They've been pretty good as far as a pre-constructed deck goes. I do love goblins. I currently don't have a goblin deck, so if I can get more than one of these, I'd really like to keep one for myself, for my own commander pod. We'll see. But let me get into it. So this is just kind of an image posted by Wizards of the Coast. You see the Goblin Storm deck box here. The deck boxes aren't anything to write home about. They're usually a little bit better, maybe a little bit of a step up in the deck box you'll get in like a commander deck, a normal pre-constructed commander deck from just your typical Magic set. But it's still not anything great. So it's looks nice, little foiling on it, but it's not anything super special. But looks like you'll get that. You have a life counter over here. I think one of these, so if I'm going to zoom in a little bit, I think this is just the front and the back of the life counter, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe one's a storm counter. I'm not sure. Are there 2 life counters that's coming with this? Or is one a storm counter? I know we see the storm counter token here, but I'm not sure the 2 different ones here. I'm assuming it's just the 2 different sides of the same counter, would be my guess. All right, and then we do have some new, we'll flip over to the other page here in just a second, but you'll see some new art and foiling for some of the different cards that will be in here. There are no new cards being printed. These are all reprints in this deck, so don't expect anything new. And I do love the storm counter here. We'll again look at this and the lands, the mountains that kind of match together. All right, so let me flip over here to the Secret Lair Commander deck article from Wizards of the Coast. All right, so there are goblins on pirate ships hiding in dumpsters and enacting arcane. I'm not going to read all this. Anyways, little goofy stuff about goblins. And if you don't know, goblins typically, most of the goblin decks out there are meant to make more goblins. Like it's just to overrun you with little goblin tokens. So on the website here, on the link, it has the card list, which I'm going to look at on a different site here, just so we can break down pricing as well. But you'll see all the cards here. I will look at this again just on MTG Goldfish here in just a second. But it talks about the strategy here. So play goblins and wield a storm of spells to devastate your opponents. So this is a little different. This includes the keyword storm, which if you don't know, lets you copy a spell for each spell that was cast before it this turn. It says right here. All right, so the commander is right here. Zada, Hedron Grinder. All right, so 4/4/3/3. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets only Zada, copy that spell for each other creature you control that the spell could target. Each copy targets a different one of those creatures. And it does have, there's a roaming throne, you'll see it right there too, reprint, which is amazing. But Zada is the commander. I don't know if that's the commander I would use. We'll talk about kind of the backup commander that I think is probably the better option, but kind of depends on the way you want to go with this. So let me come back up here, the contents. So we get the ready to play commander deck. You have 12 foil borderless cards featuring new artwork, which you can kind of see on the image I just showed you a minute ago. 22 foil borderless mountains featuring new artwork, which I love the new mountains. They all connect. Well, not all of them. A few of them connect, and then you have multiples of that. 63 non-foil reprints, 3 non-foil reprints featuring new artwork, 4 foil goblin tokens featuring new artwork, 10 non-foil double-sided tokens, 1 storm counter helper, 1 Zada Hedron Grinder display commander, and 1 deck box. All right, so one of the things I don't see on here, no, it doesn't say anything about a life counter. Let me go back to that image real quick. Interesting. So maybe, is this supposed to be intended for storm counts? Or maybe they just didn't list it. That's interesting. Well, anyways, moving on. So the price, the MSRP is $149.99. Again, I think this is going to be really hard to get from SecretLair. If you don't get in at the very first second, but even if you do, I still think it's going to be challenging to get unless you get it on the secondary market for quite the markup. So let's move on. We have some new art cards, our borderless cards here. So we got our commander. Now this is typically my goblin commander if I were to use one. So Krinko Mob Boss, 4/4/3/3. You can tap him to create X amount of 1/1 red goblin creature tokens, where X is the number of goblins you control. So I guess it kind of depends on if you go the Storm route, if you go the Krinko route, but I think either one of these could be a really great commander. Another possible commander option here, let's read him too. Oh man, Pashalik Mons, 3/4/2/2. When Pashalik Mons or another goblin you control dies, Pashalik Mons deals 1 damage to any target. Pay 4, sacrifice a goblin, create 2 1/1 red goblin creature tokens. I don't think that's the best option for the commander, but you can choose. I think either Zada or Krinko are great options depending on which direction you want to go with this deck. All right, so the other new art, we have Brightstone Ritual, Broadside Bombardiers, Conspicuous Snoop, Empty the Warrens, Grape Shot, Skirk Protector. The Roaming Throne is going to be that's a huge reprint right there. Skull Clamp, a Soul Ring. Of course, we need a new Soul Ring. It's pretty funny though. I do like it. And then these mountains. I love these mountains. So you'll see that there's multiples of each of these included. They can kind of link together to make an image. I love that. I think it's great. And then these are the three with the new art. Goblin Chieftain, Goblin Lackey, and Vandal Blast, but they're not foil. And we have some new Goblin tokens, which I think are adorable. And I love the Storm Counter. That's so cool. The Storm Counter looks really neat. And that's foil too, I think, from what I had seen. And here's our tokens that we get with it. So we get the foil Goblin, we get some Eldrazi Spawn and Rats, Soldiers and Kobolds, Eldrazi Spawn and Eldrazi, Soldier and Dward? Is that supposed to be Dward? Interesting. I'm not sure what a Dward is. Fish and Kobolds, Fish and Treasure, Wicked Roll and Cursed Roll and Treasure, and then Start Your Engines and Max Speed. All right, so this does arrive on May 18th, all right? Secret Lairs typically drop on a Monday. Now, it says 9 a.m. Pacific, so if you're on the Eastern Coast, it is at noon. So a couple tips. Usually, now things change, but typically the pre-queue starts at 11. And if you jump in the queue anytime between 11 and 11:59, you'll be in the pre-queue waiting room. Now, at 12 on the dot, if you're in the pre-queue waiting room, it will randomly put you into the real waiting room. So you could be really far down the line, you could be really early. It's kind of a lottery there. All right, so you definitely want to be in the pre-queue if at all possible. If you jump in after, like noon or after, or 9 a.m., whatever your time zone is, 12 o'clock Eastern is what I go off of. But if you jump in at 12 o'clock or later, it will put you in after all the people that were in the pre-queue. Make sense? So make sure you jump in ahead of time and be in that pre-queue. Now, be ready. I would go in early and make sure you have a SecretLair account set up. Make sure you've put in as much information as you can, and just be ready to pay and quickly check out. So once the SecretLair site goes live, typically you'll be able to add the product to the cart. They usually limit it to like 1 or 2, depending on the popularity of the product. I'm guessing there'll be 2 for this, but who knows? All right, so you add your product to the cart, you go to check out. As soon as you check out, that's when you'll enter that next queue. So there'll be another queue to kind of wait to get to pay. All right, you got to move fast though. The faster you move, the better. If you have to like dawdle around to get your payment information together and all that stuff, it's going to be challenging. It's going to waste a lot of time. Who knows if this product will still be available a few minutes after 12. I don't think it will, but I could be wrong. All right, I also think this product's going to be worth quite a bit. The value, I do want to look at that too. So I'm going to go over here. So this is on MTG Goldfish. This is one of the websites I use to look up values on things. Someone has already put in the Goblin Storm SecretLair Precon list on here, and you'll see that the tabletop value comes up to about $279.99, where the product's about $150. Now, some of these cards, the art probably will come with the premium, especially if this sells out really fast. I would expect that this value will be a lot higher than $280 based off of just the special art versions of the card. But just to go through here, just some of the key cards, we have Goblin Lackey, which, if I'm not mistaken, Goblin Lackey just hasn't been printed very much, and so this is very expensive, but only because there's just been a lack of printings. But Goblin Lackey's in here, that's a $30 card. If we scroll through here, General Crete was in, it looks like, Jumpstart. I couldn't think of the name. Looks like Jumpstart. I think that was a Jumpstart special or card exclusive. That's what the word I'm looking for. And so that makes it a little more expensive because it was harder to get. So that's a great reprint there. We have Goblin Trashmaster, which is a $9.40 card. Here's the Roaming Throne, which right now, $52. What a big reprint right there. And I don't think, because these are so limited, I think the price will dip a little bit on Roaming Throne. But if it dips, I think it'll go right back up pretty quickly. So I'm not too worried about Roaming Throne being in this, taking the price too much. And let's see, our spells. We got Seething Song, worth about $10 here. Our artifacts, we got a skull clamp, we got a ruby medallion, which is 11. The throne of Eldraine is a great reprint here at 35. And then our enchantments, nothing to write home about. Lands, we got an Arena of Glory at $10. And then we got a reprint here, which is a great one. At Shinka, the Blood-Soaked Keep at $20. So great land here. Tap, add 1 red to your mana. Tap, target legendary creature gains first strike till end of turn. Great card, great reprint there. All right, so there's a little bit as far as value goes. I'm just gonna flip back over here, just kind of put these back up here. Like I said, I think this is gonna be something where if you're considering, actually, let's go back to our image. If you're considering purchasing this, you're probably gonna wanna do it right away unless you're willing to pay those big secondary market prices. I'm personally excited for this. I think it's a good value. There's definitely some upgrading that needs done. It's not the perfect deck. I definitely think there's some things, some tweaking to make this competitive with maybe your normal commander pod, but it's a great start. I love the art in this. I love the lands, the storm counter. I think it's a good purchase. All right. So I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Tell me what you think. Is this something you're going to buy? Are you going to pass on this? Are you not sure? Do you have questions? Is it ugly? Maybe you don't like the art. I'd love to hear more about your thoughts when it comes to the Goblin Storm SecretLair deck. One last thing I'll mention too is usually there's a secret card, like a bonus card. I wonder what that's going to be in this. I have no clue. I haven't seen any spoilers or leaks or anything of that. If I'm trying to think of some of the other ones, I think one of them had like a special island in one of the ones I had gotten before. I can't remember the name of the commander, but it was like the flipping one. You flip a coin. And I think that one had a special island in it, I think. But I'm wondering if this one will have a special mountain, something different. I'm curious. So I'm excited to see what that is. Sometimes that adds some extra value too, depending on what the quality of that card, that extra bonus is. But again, thanks for watching. I appreciate you all. You're amazing. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'm looking outside right now here. It's a little sunny, a little stormy. It's kind of hit or miss. Feels like Florida weather, even though I'm in Indiana. But thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great day. Be blessed.